Welcome to another episode of The Entrepreneur's Journey. Today, we're joined by John Cooney, a successful entrepreneur and a living testament to the power of reinvention. 2 decades ago, John traded the stage for the boardroom, building a successful luxury brand called Forbidden City. Then, he has his hotel business, and now his latest venture, an online casino. So, join me as John shares his wisdom on the do's and don'ts of being a great entrepreneur, building thriving businesses, avoiding scams, and much, much more. Buckle up. This Inspiring Entrepreneurs is for you.
I started this entire thing, Forbidden City, completely not being an entrepreneur, or maybe it was just part of me. You know, I was an actor. I was working in New York and Los Angeles and Australia and so on. And when I was in Los Angeles, I was at a theater called the Groundlings, and somebody saw something that I did there and they thought it was really funny. And they said to me, "Have you ever sold anything on television?" And like any good actor, I totally lied. And I was like, "Yeah, I've got my own jewelry line to sell." And so that person was the CEO of one of the largest teleshopping companies in the world, QVC. So it was a $6 billion a year company. And I had basically 6 months to come up with a jewelry line to present to their buyers. And I did it. I went to Asia. I worked there in Thailand to develop one. And then I came back and pulled it off and showed it to them. And the day that they bought the show, it was just like the movie with Jennifer Lawrence about QVC. And they said to me, "Look," she took me into a room. She said, "You're a really nice guy, but I just want to let you know, we're going to cannibalize your product. We're going to take the business from you. So make as much money as fast as you can, because I'm buying you today. I'm not buying your product, because we can make it cheaper and we can make it better." So that was a real wake-up call to go from performing arts, since the age of 11, into actual business. It was a huge wake-up call. It happened all at once. And then the rest is history. I mean, I used that money then at QVC that I made there in 4 different countries around the world and 4 different languages, doing teleshopping with Forbidden City, to then later transition the brand into what it is today, which is an ultra luxury brand, because I didn't have the money to start it, So that's how it all happened, being in front of a television audience of 360 million people around the world, and making up to $500,000 an hour selling products. So I was really, in a sense, lucky, because I had to be at the right place at the right time. But I think also, as much as I like to downplay it, kind of my talent got me where I needed to go. And then having the balls to, just tell someone, "Yeah, this is what I have," which I totally didn't have it at all, but I made it. So we started off with jewelry, and as the years progressed, we've got 5 different lines of products that have organically either been demanded by clients or that we've grown into, and now we're going in a couple different directions with hotels and with online gaming, which is going to be hopefully the next 20 years as well. So it's a long story. I guess I started that 23 years ago. So time flies when you're having fun. But yeah, I mean, I started completely not as an entrepreneur, and it just happened literally overnight.
Let's talk about that. What are some of the do's and don'ts for someone who's starting out early?
Look, I think that it's, maybe this is my Swiss side, but I think it's very good to follow the rules. If you don't like the rules of where you are, then move. Don't do things incorrectly. Don't try to kind of report your financial statements and maybe not pay taxes or whatever. You need to be in a place that works for you and works for the business, but it needs to be correct. I see so many times people ask me for advice or whatever. They tell me I'm doing this or that, and I'm like, that's probably not a good idea. You might get caught, and it might not be, it might be really not pretty. So I think that starting out in a correct way with a good foundation and good advice is the best way to go. And I think that if you don't do that, you really are not setting up a business that has a long-term viability. So that's my real big first piece of advice.
What about those people that don't know that they're doing something wrong? They don't have the resources. They're starting out. They've got this great idea, and they're looking to launch a business. What would you say to those people?
If you say, I don't have the resources to know whether or not I'm doing something right or wrong, I disagree with that. Everything that I would tell you about setting up a business is public information. You can, and a lot of people don't like to do it because maybe it's not their forte. So either get somebody to do it for you. If you don't have the resources, you're going to have to be good at doing it. You're going to have to log on to the laws of Malta or the laws of the UK, and you'll have to read it yourself. And then if you don't understand it and you still don't have resources, there in many countries there are free legal advice forums that you can use, or you can approach the state and ask them for an opinion. If you have a tax question, by the way, tax authorities love to write back to you. They may take 30 days to do it, but if you have a question, write to them. If there's something regulatory that you don't understand, write to the government. They will give you an answer, okay? So you may think you don't have the time to do it, you're not good at it, you can't do it, it's not interesting to you, but it needs to be interesting to you. Because if it's not, you could end up really, again, messed up. So my advice to people is please don't be lazy. It's all possible, it's all there for you to know.
Are there any people that shouldn't be an entrepreneur? Many people are aspiring. Many people they dream big. They want things.
Absolutely. I mean, I was just on the phone with one of them. And, they sit there and say, I just want to have passive income, or I just want to do that. And I sit there and say to myself, well, that's great. How are you planning on getting that? If you don't even want to do X, Y, and Z. So I think that there are a lot of people out there that are really greatly influenced by social media. They watch, I, as you know, hate social media in more ways than one. But, I occasionally go into this flipping through TikTok or Instagram or whatever, which I shouldn't even be on because an agency does that for us. But you go on there and you get caught in this K-hole of all of these people telling you, buy this course and you can make $6,000 a month doing, and I just sit there and think to myself, these are all scams. All of these people are really making it so much easier than it actually making it seem like it's so much easier than it actually really is. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, there's a lot of moments of failure. When you fail, you've got to pick yourself up and move on, fail quickly, and then go on to the next thing. That's also a big mistake that I made, because my father always said, Cooney's never quit. He ingrained that in our heads, mainly about sports, but it stuck with me. But I think that certainly I've tried other businesses even before this, even when I was performing, to make, less. Back then it wasn't called a side hustle, but we all did things. And, you want to make it work so bad, and you don't want to give up, but it's sometimes good to just give up, move on, and do the next thing. And we have that in micro instances in an already functioning business all the time with certain projects. It's like, okay, it didn't work out. You have some people in the company who sit there and say, but we can make it work. No, you can't. Move on, start the next thing. So there are a lot of people that don't want to do that. That's the type of person I would say you can learn, obviously, how to fail quickly and fail up, as they say. And you can also learn how to change your behavior. But there are a lot of people out there definitely who shouldn't be entrepreneurs, people that are entitled, people who think that it doesn't take hard work. And by hard work, I mean you can be clever, you can work less and make more money. But that comes from innate talent and ability and understanding. But you've got to start somewhere. And nobody's going to do it for you. That's going back to what we were talking about at the very beginning. Everything is available online. Read. And read the right document. Don't read some boiled down crap on a blog. That's someone who, sorry, for all intents and purposes, is probably undereducated or wants to sell you something or has an opinion or just wants to make money on selling ad space on their website, which is a great way to make passive income. Yeah, it's not passive at all. They've got to write the article. So these are this is also what I find different about, I guess, my generation and younger people, is that, I mean, when I had to do research, whether it was even in high school or university, I mean, we had to go into a library and we had to find a book that a scholar had written using the card file thing, or back then a computer that said, okay, this is where you go find the book in the library. Then we had to go get the book, we had to open it up, we had to read it, then write about it, then have somebody who superior experience and intelligence probably graded it and said, okay, this is why this idea makes sense. That's a really good idea, or maybe you need to work on it. But nowadays, people can just type whatever and into Google, and the first three things that come up, they think that's research. It's not.
It's one of the things that we've learned in journalism school, is that you need to have references from reputable sources. Right.
And Joe Rogan is not a reputable source. So I think that this is truly this is the end point, or the beginning point of determining what type of person should be an entrepreneur.
How does one go about and secure a meeting? How would you say one would go about and pitching? What are some of the do's and don'ts of that?
It's very different than 25 years ago, but I have to pitch every single day. I always say it's good to just meet people. I was just on the phone mentoring somebody who's 22 years old. And, I said, why don't you meet so-and-so? And they said, well, why would I want to do that? And, I think it's great to meet everybody that you possibly can and to talk to everyone that you possibly can, especially when you start from zero. I mean, I didn't start from zero in the sense that I had a talent, I was performing, I was working, and I was getting paid to do that. But I started from zero in terms of this entire idea, in terms of knowing people in an industry where you could actually sell a physical thing. I knew no one. I had to put it together, but that came because I have a big mouth and I talk to people and I listen to people and I network with people. So I think that that's a big part of being an entrepreneur.
How do you spot a genuine business opportunity versus a scam?
You know what? Anybody who needs to go online and market like a course or something like this, I mean, I can't believe any of it. I think you can also look at someone's face and just tell. If you're not good with people and you're not good at just telling, then get good at it, because there are so many people out there that are up to no good. And I've noticed that since the pandemic. I mean, in our business, so much has changed. So many people have changed. Vendors that were once reliable have now become quite the opposite. We've had to make a lot of changes, but mainly because people have changed. So I think that if you ever get a gut feeling that says something doesn't sound right here, run the other way. Literally, there are 8 billion people in the world. If you feel something is not right, go. If you see something, say something. It's like that ad in New York City, after 9/11 with the black backpack. If you see something, say something. If you feel something, run. Because that's really your survival mechanism coming into play. And how do you tell something is a scam or not? I think it's always good to research who you're talking to and who you're doing business with. Let's say you're talking to, for instance, I was asked to give money to a charity in a certain country. And I went online, and they were having a huge gala event. Black tie, I was invited to that. So it was kind of like the glitterati of this place, of this country. Everyone trying to organize a table together. Of course, I was like, I don't know anything about this charity. So instead of Googling and reading all the shit that they gave to me, I went on to the corporate registry and I wanted to see their audited financial results that they're required to file. And guess what? Since 2017, they have never filed their audited financial results. And in fact, the year before this event that I was invited to and this money that I was asked to give, they actually moved their global corporate headquarters and place of business to one of the only countries in the world that doesn't cooperate with OECD. So again, go to where the horse's mouth actually is. If you go to a website of somebody that you're thinking about doing business with, and they are a business and they have terms and conditions, and they don't list their physical address, I mean, these are basic things, right? But it happens all the time. I go to websites all the time, especially in the fashion industry that we're in. If they don't list their place of business, if they don't tell you at the beginning of the terms and conditions that our business based at the address for service where you could sue them if you needed to, and they don't give you a phone number, and they don't have a legal form of business, you probably shouldn't be doing business with them, So dig deeper is what I'm saying. And then you'll know. Also, see if they're being sued somewhere. I was just opening about 2 years ago, trying to open a bar in Malta. And the people who are trying to rent the space to us were asking for, 30,000 US dollars or 30,000 euros in key money. And, we went on a trip with them. It was like this huge negotiation to try to do this deal. And it was a really nice location. And right before we were about to maybe do it, me and my business partner were talking. I said, I just want to check one thing. And I went onto the Maltese court system and I typed their names in. They were being sued by the bank for that exact space because they had never paid the mortgage. They were being sued by numerous other people. All publicly available information. But again, go to the horse's mouth. Go to the government website. That's what your taxes are paying for, okay? So that all of this stuff is available to you. It's not just sitting out there for nothing. So use resources that are free, that are available, and that will paint a real picture of who that person is. Because as you know, anybody can have an Instagram account and be who they want to be. They can have a Twitter account and be who they want to be. But documents and facts prove who they actually are.
I guess what I want to know is, what's your vision for the online casino? You talked about that you came across this opportunity, and then there was this inherent motivation. You wanted to start something different. But what I'm not hearing is the big vision that you want. Is it something to do with gaming? Is it something to do with entertainment? And more specifically,
I think for me, my real vision is to incorporate gamers into our world and let them enjoy it and reward them for being loyal. So that's my big vision. I mean, the vision is that we have loyal, high roller people that we provide very exciting games for, interesting entertainment, and that people who are really on the inside of the Forbidden City get very heavily rewarded and get what they want. We're a company that really doesn't say no. So I think that what we'd really like to do is be able to customize an experience for every player based on their loyalty and based on what they really want as an entertainment venue. So this is what we do in our hard goods business for our upper echelon and top tier clients. And I think we'll try to emulate that in the casino business. So I think that every customer really is their own market when it comes to the level of customers that we now deal with in our business. People say, where do you sell the most? Is it like Kazakhstan? Is it, California? And I always say no, because those clients can be one day on their yacht in Turks and Caicos, and the next day they can be at their house in London, and the next day they can be in Singapore. So each client is a market, and I think that we're looking to segment our online gamers, not in a volume sense, but because they will be high rollers. We're looking to understand who they really are and to create an online gaming platform that's built really around them.
My final question, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I think what I mentioned during this entire interview, which is to fail faster, is a really great piece of advice. If something's not working, seriously, just move on. If you're creative and you have the next best idea, move on, whether or not it's a project or a business. I think that's a great piece of advice I would give myself. I would also give myself the advice to make sure that everything is set up really on a good foundation. Like I mentioned with my trademarks, I created a world of hurt over 10 years. Of course, that 10 years I used to my advantage. I now understand IP better than most business owners, and I put myself basically through law school doing it. And even some of my attorneys now say, God, we didn't even think of that. So it ended up being a blessing. It could have also ruined me. So I think that those are the two big pieces of advice I would give myself. And the third piece of advice I would give myself would be, make sure the people that you work with are solid. Create a solid team and understand how best to retain and keep those people. And also understand that, yes, loyalty is important, but sometimes it's better for people to part ways. And it works for their higher good, and it also works for your higher good. And so those are definitely 3 points that if I had known back then, I probably could have had a different experience.
Is there any way that they can reach you?
Sure, you can visit our website, www.forbiddencity.swiss, or you can always email through the contact form on the website, and somehow somebody will probably get that message to me as long as it's appropriate. Don't be naughty. No, just kidding. So don't be forbidden. But yeah, go ahead and visit our website and take a look at it. And our Instagram is the same, forbiddencity.swiss. And I'm sure if you send a message there, that's also nice, that they'll get it to me. So, and I welcome any questions for people who are starting out. I think it's kind of like I said, I don't have kids, so I think it's kind of a way that I can give back. And I mentor people who are younger than I am and try to help them out. So it's a real pleasure. If you've got a great idea, run it past me. I might be able to help you with it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, John.